Aloha.
So, question for you. When you talked about many will be going to Maui,
Yes.
why Maui and not like the Big Island?
Haleakala is the heart chakra, is the
Right?
center point. It's where the hybrid children will wind up, in
True.
that particular enclave.
But there's so much space on the Big Island.
Yes, there is. I didn't say everyone in the world would go to Maui.
Okay.
I just said more will go to Maui.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right.
Yes.
So, being that I live on the Big Island now.
Yes. I could tell.
Yes.
But things are happening there.
Many
Changes are happening
changes
there.
are happening.
Yes.
And of course, every place on earth has its own
Of course.
specific energies, archetypes, deities.
Yes.
So, and of course, it's Big Island's very primal.
Yes.
I've been getting used to the energies of the Big Island,
Yes.
but I'm very used to the energies of like the angels and ascended masters and beings like that. And I understand they're there too, but I don't feel their presence there as strongly
Well, you may
as
simply be in a phase of your life where it's not necessarily important for you to pay that much attention to that. They're always around.
Right.
Again, it's just about what's important and relevant for you to perceive at any given moment based on where you're at in your process and your journey.
true.
I know. That's
But-
why I said it.
But there's certain things I prefer more than others. So,
But are you doing the things that will actually allow you to experience what you say you prefer, or are you doing things that won't? Are your actions in alignment with your excitement and your preferences?
I think that I was in a neutral state for a long time.
Yes.
And now I'm shifting more into my true north
All right.
there.
All right. And then, so
Then they should align.
then if you allow them to align, if you act on them in an aligned way, then everything will be experienced as being aligned. Yes, of course.
Okay. Because
Again, it doesn't mean that you might not test yourself now and then to make sure you actually are aligned or are just pretending that you are. All of you will do that from time to time. Is it just lip service, or are you actually walking your talk, as you say? But as soon as you know you are walking your talk, then in a sense, you won't really need to, shall we say, trick yourself, because it won't really matter what happens to you anymore. It will only matter what you do with what happens. You will not be gauging your serenity on what happens around you. You will simply be choosing your state and able to process anything that happens, no matter how it looks, no matter what anyone else's opinion or experience of it is, no matter how it originated, because you will know that you can give positive meaning to everything for yourself and extract the benefit from it. It doesn't mean that you stop recognizing what's negative and what's positive. It simply means you learn how to use what's negative in a positive way. And by being a living example to others in that way, you give them the option of recognizing that they can do that too. Yes?
yes. Okay. Okay.
But you yourself are choosing to live on an edge because it's exciting, isn't it?
Yes. And it's kind of odd there because sometimes it feels like time just stands still. And then other times it feels like once something's happened, then there's no time at all.
Well, time is your an illusion.
True.
So it's up to you how you experience it. But I remind you, because it is flexible, because it is just a projection of consciousness, because it is just a side effect of your consciousness shifting through billions of parallel realities that creates your experience called time and change and space. As I remind you, when you are in the moment, when you're doing what you love to do, and it seems as if no time is passing, you're not paying attention to the passage of time, you actually aren't creating as much time. If it feels like half an hour has gone by and you look up from what you're doing and everyone says, oh no, it's been 5 hours, you have only aged half an hour because you only created half an hour of time.
Yes.
Yes? That's how you stay young, by living in the moment, and paradoxically how you live longer, by staying young, by living in the moment, by not creating as much time, you paradoxically live for a longer time.
True. Now I understand that. At the same time, I wonder
Yes,
why.
but some of them did not.
Oh, okay. Geologically, though, places on Earth, are there some places where time, in quotations, may move slower or quickly,
Yes.
quicker, not
Yes.
just because of its placement?
Yes.
Okay.
And because of the collective consciousness in that area. Different cultures experience time in different ways. And therefore, they may imbue that. There may be an aspect of the collective consciousness of Gaia itself, of the earth itself, that reflects the different ways in which the expressions of consciousness on the planet actually view and experience the concept of time. So different places may be set up to experience time in different ways for the different cultural experiences that you can have on the planet. Yes.
Okay.
So time may move differently in different areas on the earth. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Especially in the areas you call the portals. In a sense, that's what they're all about. Portals are kind of like time twisted up in a way that you can experience many different dimensions of time in one spot.
I like that.
Oh, all right. I'm glad you like that.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Yes. So I recently did a DNA test because I was curious about my
Yes.
physical DNA.
Yes.
And some of it came back like how I thought it would be, and some of it was like, oh, this is interesting.
All of you are far more mixed than you think. Remember,
Yeah.
you are all hybridized, and you have many different things throughout your history that you may not know exist within you as DNA markers.
And I didn't really think too much of it, but the only thing it brought up was wondering who the great-great-grandparents might have been, because I was like, oh, I didn't know I had that.
All right. Well, maybe
And
you
it's
should
fine.
take a trip to Scotland and find out.
Yes, Scottish was the most. So that was very interesting. Didn't expect that.
All right. Well, have a good trip, lassie.
And then one last question. Throughout the ages, the rose has been a symbol of many things to
Yes, it
people.
has.
And it just seems like it's such a special thing. And I wondered if you could talk about the vibration of it and why. Just
Again, it's a big subject. However, you are making energetic connections from your present to other simultaneous existences that have a lot to do with that, such as organizations called the Rosicrucians. Yes?
yes.
Also, all the way back to the idea of the Rose Chapel and the lineage of Mary and Jesus.
Right.
So you're connected to that. That's another aspect of DNA that exists within you.
Okay.
You may wish to investigate that a little bit.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you, Bashar. My love to you and all.
Our
the
unconditional
signing.
love to you as well. Is it time for your break?
It's time for our Ustream.
All right. We will answer a few questions from your Ustream audience.
Okay, thank you.
Before your break, before the holotope meditation.
Okay.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania.
I'm a little husky.
Yes.
Arf, arf.
Are you pulling a sled?
No, I'm pretty footloose and fancy free.
All right. What would you like to discuss?
Okay, so we have a few Ustream questions. One of them is, who created or invented DNA?
Who created DNA?
I know, I can only pass these questions on to you.
Yes, yes, yes.
And do all physical beings, regardless of form and location in the multiverse, have some form of DNA?
DNA is the first physical expression of consciousness in physical terms. It represents the idea of the spiral of creation from as above, so below, and also going from below to as above. So it's a double spiral, one coming down, one going up. That's simply the way the idea expresses itself in physical terms first. So you are all first and foremost actually DNA beings, and then the DNA attaches to itself other cellular structures in a sense like a suit, that it can then have mobility and senses and perceptions within the idea that create personality so you can have physical experiences. Every being within the multiverse that experiences itself in some way, shape, or form physically has a type of template that represents what it is and how it experiences itself. It's not exactly always what you recognize as DNA, so we'll just use the more generalized term. There is always an energy template that exists that lays down the parameters for how the consciousness crystallizes itself in physical terms. If you want to call it DNA, you can, but it, in some cases, is nothing like what you understand DNA to be. However, you will still always find, this is what we have always found in our investigation with the hundreds of civilizations we have encountered that are physical, you will always find some expression of the spiral in there, even if it's not exactly the idea of chromosomes in the way you understand DNA. It might even just be a pattern in something, but it will always be presented almost like a fingerprint of creation, a fingerprint of the link between as above and so below. It's something that just gets frozen in physical terms when something experiences itself as coming from an energy form, a spirit form, into a physical representation. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. Actually, it's fascinating, and it's so efficient.
Yes. But it is also representative, because that means there's always a bridge. There's always a link. There is always a clue that lets you know you can always know you're connected to source, always. There is no such thing as being disconnected from it. You can create an experience of disconnection, but you're using your connection to create the experience of disconnection. In fact, if you look at it backwards, being able to have an experience of disconnection is proof that you're connected, because if you weren't connected, you would have no experience at all. So that spiral fingerprint is, in a sense, your clue that there is always a link and a connection to source.
Mm. Okay, and when people ground themselves, the idea of grounding,
Yes.
does that lower your vibration?
No, it can in fact raise it. The idea of grounding in that context simply means you are stabilizing your frequency. You are honing your frequency to something that is already an expression of your natural self. So your natural self will relate to and identify with the nature around you in such a way that, like a tree, you put down roots very strongly and ground yourself so that you have an anchor from which to rise into the stars, into the heavens, without detaching yourself from the grounded, balanced state. It's just creating an anchor point that allows you to explore higher frequencies without becoming disoriented, without becoming ungrounded in that sense.
That's very helpful. And then lastly, one of the questions was about the hybrid children.
Yes.
And people would like to be able to visit those enclaves where they'll be staying or they are staying.
Yes, well, some people will in the future.
So they probably want to know maybe, what are their chances of getting to interact with the children when they're in the enclaves?
It depends on many factors, not the least of which is the formula. Right. When you raise your frequency, you certainly make it more likely that you'll be able to interact with beings of similar high frequency, which the children, the hybrids, will be. So, what are your chances? They're exactly as good as the odds that you create for yourself and the probabilities you create for yourself by aligning with your true vibration, by acting on your passion to the best you can with no insistence on the outcome. You determine those odds utterly.
You say that so well.
Oh, well, thank you.
So we have a little surprise for you.
Yes.
First of all, Sampasi is going to come up here and she wants to ask you some questions for herself. And then she has something to give you from all of us.
Oh, all right.
Okay?
Yeah.
You need to make a form and you need to make your brand look good. Typeform lets you make on-brand forms in seconds. Here's how. Add your logos, add your brand's color scheme, add any typeface from Google Fonts. You can even upload media like images, videos, and GIFs. Typeform lets you turn all your brand assets into a theme that everyone in your company can use. So try Typeform for free next time.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
I have a hybrid friend,
Yes?
and her name is Ethiopia.
Yes.
She is a shapeshifter.
Yes.
She can turn into a deer and a fox, and she is also a
Yes.
girl.
Although remember, that's the effect, but the idea is that she is using parallel realities to create that presentation of herself. Yes?
Yes.
All right.
So, my mommy was meditating and connecting to a deer image.
Yes.
She opened her eyes and she saw a deer outside the house. Who or what was that?
Didn't you just say it was Ethiopia?
I didn't.
But you did, because you said Ethiopia can present herself as a deer. So why wouldn't it be Ethiopia?
Good point.
Thank you. We sometimes make them.
So,
Yes?
I enjoy playing with water, and
Yes.
sometimes I feel like I can move it with
Yes.
my mind.
Yes. Well, it's highly possible since you're inventing the water with your consciousness anyway. When there is no difference between you and the water, it will move. Just like you move yourself. You do know that you are mostly made of water, yes?
Yes.
Well, you move yourself, don't you?
Yes.
Just because you think the water is separate from you is the only reason that most people can't move it. When you understand that there is no separation, it's just a different expression and a different reflection of you, it will move as you move. It will flow with you.
Interesting.
Yes, it is. And? One more?
Yes. I would just like to say thank you, Bashar, for your love and encouraging us to use the formula. We would like to give you flowers, and by the way,
Yes.
you are a very good father to your children, and we all love you. Happy Father's Day, Bashar.
Thank you. A father could not be more proud of the children that you are, of the cosmos. We thank you, and our unconditional gratitude, appreciation, and love to you all.
Thank you, Bashar. Happy Father's Day. And we'll have the holotope now.
Please take a short break. We will resume this transmission to give you your holotope meditation to help crystallize in the energy of the day. How's it going?
Hello, Bashar.
And a good day.
Thank you. I would like a little clarity on the concept of vibrations,
Yes.
because I think you talk about raising or lowering your vibration,
Yes,
and
your
I was wondering what it is actually
It's your energy.
that's vibrating.
Energy has frequency to it. A simple example is what you call your visible spectrum of light, yes? You know it's all the same kind of electromagnetic energy, but you know that red is a different frequency, a different vibrational rate then blue, which is a higher vibrational rate. Yes?
Yes.
So when you allow yourself to align with your truth, your passion, your creativity, your love, you are allowing yourself to upgrade and accelerate, raise up your frequency. And by raising up your frequency, it makes you more sensitive as a receiver, in a sense, as an antenna, to pick up on even higher frequencies above and beyond your reality. Your senses expand. You start being able to perceive the structure of existence. You start being able to understand that you have a direct connection to Source. You start being able to actually experience it in that way. You start being able to realize that you are already being given everything you can possibly be given. You don't necessarily have to ask for more. It's that you just have to pay more attention to what you're already getting. And raising your frequency makes you a more sensitive receiver to be able to pay more attention to what you're already being given that helps you. Yes? Does that answer your question?
I think I could think about that for a long time, actually.
Well, if you insist, you can think about it for as long or as short as you wish. But it's really not that complicated. You're just making yourself basically more sensitive to receive higher energy information by matching that level, by matching that frequency. Remember, the principle is you cannot perceive what you are not the vibration of. So when you are vibrating at a certain rate, at a certain frequency, you can't perceive the things that are vibrating like this. You have to raise your frequency and become matched to that frequency like two tuning forks to be able to receive and understand and translate and process that vibration and all the information and all the experience that is relevant to that vibration. If you're down at this level on this vibration scale, you can't really have any experiences that are representative of a different vibrational level. Make sense?
Yeah.
You have to think about that for a while too, I suppose.
But to rate, I guess the second part of my question would be to
Yes.
raise my vibration.
That's the formula that we've given you all. Yes? You act on your highest passion because passion is the translation in your body of your true frequency.
Okay.
You do it to the best you are able, and you do it with absolutely no insistence and no assumption, thinking that you know what the outcome is supposed to be of acting on that passion because your physical mind really has no idea. And if you insist on knowing what that outcome should be and put those kinds of restrictions on it, your higher mind and creation cannot necessarily then give you what could actually be much better than you have imagined. So you have to really trust the synchronicity and the higher self to deliver to you, when you're in the correct vibration of passion, all the things you truly need at that moment. Your physical mind is only designed to understand and experience what's happening, what's going on right now at this moment, and take that experience in. Your physical mind is not designed to really know what's going to happen, but higher intelligence does. And therefore it guides you and says, follow your passion. That's the compass needle pointing to your true north. That's the compass needle that allows you to align with your true self and your true path in life. Follow the passion, follow the love, follow what you are. That's who you are. And then you know your path will be unerring. It will be the path of least resistance, the path of joy. You will experience less struggle and strife. It's just the way it works. You're going with the flow of your current. You're not swimming upstream. You're not resisting it. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yes.
So that's the formula. Act on your highest passion to the best you can at every moment. Do it as much as you can, as far as you can take it, until you can take it no further. Then act on the next most exciting thing. And then do that with absolutely no insistence, no assumption as to what the outcome ought to be, and see what happens. And then whatever happens, remain in a positive state. Even if something manifests that you don't initially prefer, you have to know it's there for a reason. There are no accidents. It's there for a reason. Learn to stay in a positive state, and then you can use what you don't prefer in a way that you do prefer and get the benefit from it. But you have to know that whatever you are given is what you need at that moment. Because sometimes you will test yourself. Maybe something will manifest that you don't prefer, and maybe you will find yourself reacting in the same old way with the same old fear-based beliefs and say, oh, why did that happen? Something must be wrong. Something's off. I will judge myself. I must have done something wrong. That is what exactly makes that state stick and stay there and get you in a loop of negativity. But if you suddenly realize, all right, I recognize objectively that I don't prefer this, but I know it's got to be there for a reason that serves me. I just know that. Then you will be able to extract the benefit. You will see eventually why it happened in that way, if for nothing else again, that you tested yourself to make sure that you're not making your happiness conditional on what happens outside. You are making your happiness conditional only on what you decide is true for you. Yes?
Fantastic.
Is this helping?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
All right. You didn't need much time to think about that then, yeah?
Well, no. Somehow it just
Clicked.
clicked in there.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
Going back to when you were talking about the 9 levels of consciousness,
Yes.
I was trying to get a better understanding. You made an emphasis on the emotions, the beliefs, the emotions, and the thoughts, reversing them.
Belief systems are the blueprint that leads to emotions, thoughts, and behaviors that creates your experience in reality.
And you made a point to say that the way we normally think about that, we should flip that upside down. So that
No.
beliefs are on
No,
top.
no. Not that you should flip it upside down. What we're saying is you think it's upside down.
Yeah.
That's the way your society sees it. In other words, you think your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind are below your conscious mind. They're not. They're above. Because it comes from the less physical to the more physical. So the unconscious mind is actually a higher frequency than the subconscious mind, which is a higher frequency than the physical mind. So what we're saying is you need to understand that that's the way it actually is, so that you can work with it in a more constructive way rather than thinking that the subconscious and unconscious mind are below or beneath the physical mind, which gives the physical mind the idea that it's somehow in charge, which it's not.
So is this compatible with the idea of the chakra system? Because when I think about it, it doesn't.
Not exactly, no. It's not quite the same thing as the idea of the chakra system in the body. The chakra system in the body are simply the energy centers that process the idea of the beliefs, the emotions, the thoughts, the behaviors in a way that allows you to experience yourself either in balance or out of balance with your own true, fundamental, essential frequency. So the chakras give you an understanding of how to align more clearly with your true essential frequency and give you an understanding of when you may be out of alignment with that true essential frequency. So it's not exactly the same thing, although they're interrelated, because one is an expression of what's going on in the others.
Right.
Does that help?
So it won't help to try and synthesize those two systems of thought. It's just better to keep them separate.
You can synthesize them together. They do work together, as I just said. So if you understand the interrelationship of what the chakra centers are showing you, whether you are in balance, out of balance, then that gives you an opportunity to maybe go in and examine your belief systems and why the beliefs you're holding on to are throwing you out of balance, represented by the imbalance in the chakra system. So you're using the chakra system, in a sense, as a way, as an indicator to let you know when there might be something out of whack, out of balance, out of alignment within you. Now, it doesn't mean you have to do it that way. Some people are sensitive to being able to read that. Some people are not. It's not necessarily their particular permission slip. But it can be used that way, but that's the relationship.
All right, thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Anything else?
I just wanted to know, like, basically, you have a very simple formula.
Yes, I do. Because creation is fundamentally very simple. It can be richly complex, but the structure is very, very simple.
And it's the answer you give to everyone every time, pretty much in different words.
Because there is only one instruction manual. There's only one formula. If you understand that, you're free and you can answer all your own questions. That's the point.
So I'm
It's like
wondering-
saying, if I handed you an instruction manual to help you understand how to operate a piece of machinery, would you start looking for extra pages, going, there must be more to the instructions than this? Or would you be happy that the instruction manual was relatively simple?
I'm just wondering why, what do people get caught up in? Why it seems so simple, and yet it's...
Because you have been taught to believe that things have to be a struggle in order to be worthwhile.
So the process, pretty much, if you were to begin, is to simply
The process
try to imagine,
is to simply understand the instructions
right,
clearly
and to make that applicable and
and to
practical.
apply them in your reality, and you'll get the result. Just like, again, if you follow the instructions in an instruction manual for a piece of machinery, the machine will operate according to the instructions. Now, the machine of creation always operates. The instruction manual is designed to reveal to you how it operates to your advantage instead of to your disadvantage, because you're the one in charge of pushing those buttons. You have free will to choose whether you'll be in alignment with creation or out of alignment with creation. So the instruction manual is a way of understanding how to be in alignment, how to go with the flow to your advantage.
So the more excitement, the more passion you have,
Yes.
the higher your frequency.
Yes. The more you act on your passion. It's not necessarily about the volume of passion. It's about the frequency upon which you're willing to act on it. Because sometimes you can start small and you can say, well, I don't have any large-scale passion project or a large-scale passionate career or anything like that. But at any given moment, I have a number of options available to me that I can take action on. They can be very, very basic and very simple. Take a walk, read a book, call a friend, eat a meal. The idea is that synchronicity is the organizing principle. Therefore, whichever one contains even the tiniest bit more attractiveness, gets your curiosity a little bit more strongly than any other choice, that's the one to act on first until you can act on it no further. When you can act on it no further, then look for the next thing that has even just the tiniest bit more excitement in it, more attractiveness in it than any other choice, and act on that next. That's how synchronicity brings it to you in a way that makes it organize all the things you need to do in the order in which you need to do them in perfect timing. And you can start that way. Now, eventually, if it needs to build up into something bigger, then it will snowball into something bigger, because more and more opportunities will come to you synchronistically that might be representative of larger opportunities, larger expressions of your passion. But it's not so much about the volume itself as it is the frequency with which you're willing to act on it that makes the difference.
So there's not a threshold of energy, so to speak, that you have to cross before a manifestation occurs?
You're always manifesting something, aren't you? Aren't you manifesting right now? That's your nature. If you weren't manifesting, you wouldn't be having a physical experience at all. So obviously you can manifest. It's about becoming more aware that you manifest, and it's about becoming more aware of how you manifest, and about becoming more aware of how you can prefer to manifest things that are more in alignment with who you truly are. It's not about learning to do something you're not already doing. It's about becoming more aware of what you're already doing in a conscious way. That's all. You're already manifesting. That's natural. It's built in. You can't help it. That's just what you are. You're a manifester. You're a